Good morning and welcome to the eLearning Assist presented by GO1.com. I'm Scott Cooper and we're back with another webinar for you today. Today we're actually going to be having a look at some of the new features in GO1, and with me I'm going to hand over shortly to our Senior Product Manager Liz Hardie, who heads up our product team, and she's going to walk you through everything that we've got that's just come out new and give you some updates on how we're going to be releasing new features in the future and so on. Before I hand over to Liz, I just want to remind you, as always, we have the live chat on the right-hand side of your screen here. If you have any questions while we're going through this, feel free to write down the question and submit it into the chat. We'll get responses together. We'll have a bit of a Q&A at the end, and we'll be providing answers as we're going through this webinar here. So let's get things kicked off. Liz, how are you going this morning?
Not too bad, thanks, Scott. Nice to be here, and hello everyone.
Awesome. I might kick over to you and let's start having a look at things.
Sounds good. Welcome everybody. I guess probably this is my first opportunity to present to you all. And what we're going to sorry, excuse me as well, I just fixed some feedback on my headphones. Can everyone hear me? Fantastic. What we're going to do today is we're going to just be walking through a number of new features, but I'm also going to be walking through how we go about releasing features moving forward. So just a little bit about me. I'm relatively new to GO1. I've been here for about 4 months now. My key objectives here is to actually build capability around how we do product. And I come to here from working in product roles in education, finance and e-commerce. I'm really looking forward to, over time, meeting a number of you and talking to you about your needs. So today's objective is obviously to teach you guys about some of the new GO1 features. And where we're going to start is just talking about how we're going to be changing our approach to releasing features so that we can ensure that we get better feedback from you before we go live with new features. Then I'm going to cover off some of the new features and demonstrate them. And we're going to talk about what we're working on next quarter, and then we'll take some questions at the end. Just in relation to how we're going to be releasing features moving forward, what we've done traditionally is we've built a feature and released it into production and taken feedback on that and then introduced incremental changes. What we found is that the feedback we were getting was so valuable, we wanted to adjust how we went to market with new features. So what we've decided to do now is we've decided to develop minimum viable of an amount of customer research beforehand. I'll talk about our customer research and the research program later. Then what we would do is we would develop that functionality based on the minimum viable, which comes from our user research. At that point in time, we'll run a webinar on the feature, and we'll ask all of you if anyone would be interested in being part of the early access program to test the feature. And we release the feature then for a period of time, depending upon the complexity of the feature, anywhere between 2 weeks and 4 to 6 weeks. And then we would do an evaluation of that feature with the early access program participants and incorporate feedback where relevant. And then once we've gone through that cycle, we then look to move to full release. So the one thing we're hoping to get out of this is a much better fit to requirements, and also a much better understanding of your business, so then moving forward we can continue to release and develop features that work well. So why have we decided to go with an early access program? Obviously we've adjusted our focus to really be clear on engaging our customers both in the design phase and in the testing phase of new features, because it does a couple of things. It helps reduce the support and learning side of new features when they do go to market from our perspective, but it also ensures that you guys as the customers get a feature that's a much better fit for your purposes. So what is our early access program? It's an opt-in program, and it accesses functionality that is currently, and that's probably the really important part of that. This functionality is in beta. It isn't acceptance testing because obviously we're building features for our whole customer base. It's about feedback and improvement versus acceptance testing. And I guess the key difference is during early access, feedback comes to the product team rather than through our support group. As I mentioned, when we run these webinars and we talk to you about the features that are going to be available in early access coming up, what we will be doing is then having the ability for you to say, hey, I'd be interested in that, or I'd be interested in that. We'll do that at the end of each webinar. What we would then do is there's an agreement that's important to be signed as part of the T's and C's for the early access program. It just makes it very, very clear about what's expected. But as an early access participant, one of the things we're looking for from you is to be able to provide feedback to us directly and via the EAP feature survey at the end of the early access program period. And where relevant, or if you're interested in doing so, providing a testimonial or a case study about any functionality. So that's the early access program. And the way you'll be able to get involved is when we send out the blog post for the webinar, there'll be a link to a form. If you're interested in being part of the early access program, you can complete the form and send it to us. So there'll be two options on that form. One is to be part of early access. The other is to be involved as part of user testing and design. So that's in the process even before we've worked out what we're going to be building. We're really interested in getting a whole heap of our customer base engaged in those processes. So hopefully we'll get a lot of responses from that. So what I'm going to jump into next is some of the new features that we're releasing. And obviously we've brought the early access program in at the beginning of this year. So we've got a mix of features I'm going to be demonstrating today that are, some of them are in production. Some of them are still in, ready to move to early access. So what I'm going to be showing you today in terms of the new features in production, improvements around our ability to track learner progress. We've actually got now the ability to moderate external learning. We've got a new administrator role with a reduced set of access. We've made some improvements to award, and we've also made some reporting improvements. If you'll just bear with me, I'm going to flip across to my application now in order to demonstrate these for you. So where we're starting is some of our improvements to the ability to track learner progress. I guess one of the things that drove this was the fact that we've received a lot of, this is under the My Teaching tab on the platform. We'd received a lot of feedback that the information, this tab was valuable and the information was good, but the user experience was confusing and that it was missing some key functionality. So one of the first things we did is we changed the overarching dashboard and the navigational structure. So now at the top level, you can see a summary here of whether you've got pending assessments, whether you've got active learner enrolments, how many courses and learning items you have, and any overdue enrolments. And I'll come back to the overdue enrolments in a minute because it's an exciting new feature that we've just rolled out. What this actually allows me to do, so my active learner enrolments, I can click straight through on that to a list of my learner enrolments. Now, one of the things that you'll see here is things like progress and days ahead behind and due dates. Those are some of the new features that we've put into course creation to improve our ability to track progress. The other thing with this learner enrolments tab is you'll notice that we have this drop, roll down, roll up capability. So what you can see in here is that this course actually consists of a number of modules, which consist of a number of, no, they don't in this instance, sorry about that. See if I can get one that does have. So what we actually shows is it shows, rather than having everything laid out, it actually gives you the ability to see at the summary level. Now, with the courses, what we have with the course due dates is we have the ability now on a course to create a setting and put some suggested completion on it. So what the suggested completion does is it allows me to specify a date, or it allows me to specify a completion rule. Now, what our completion rules are is it says that from the moment, like in this instance, from the moment a student enrolls in this course, they have 10 days to complete it. Now, what that'll mean is whenever any student goes in, it will set a due date 10 days afterwards. So then that subsequently results in these days ahead behind. So I can see if my due date was the 12th, then I'm currently 3 days behind the completion of that. That provides a really nice summary mechanism for you to follow up with learners or staff in order to say, hey, you're meant to have this piece of compliance, or you're meant to have this module, or you're meant to have your onboarding completed in a certain date. The in progress and the progress and percentage completion relates to things like quizzes, as well as in progress and items that have got multiple tasks. So if I had a module that had 6 activities in it and I had completed 3 of them, then that would show up as 50% complete. So this information, in addition to being available to be set when I create a new resource, also is able to be viewed by the student when they see their progress in a learning module. So as you can see here, as my student, I've got 2 of 6 complete. It's due on the 12th. This learning item here was scheduled to be completed on the 8th, and it's 7 days overdue. So this is actually a really good prompter then for the students to start more actively engaging in their own learning processes. And one of the features we've got coming up in the future, which is to improve our notifications, we'll actually start using some of these due dates to issue notifications to students as well, which is a great additional feature. So in addition to that, obviously they show they're available on the reports as well. So the past, start date, end dates, assessor information, all of these fields are able to be, sorry, that one's a little bit of a raggedy one. I'll just go back to this one. You're able to use all of these fields, so the progress and the days behind and the due date are all able to be used in reports that you create on learner enrolments reporting. So that's some of the interesting improvements and changes we've made in the My Teaching and the course structuring area. The next area of improvements that we have is around the moderation of external learning. So I'll probably talk to 2 things here in the context of awards and of the moderation of external learning. We've done a number of things around awards. We've made quite a few improvements in this space, including the fact that awards can now contain learning items as well as child awards. So here we have an award for staff onboarding, and that actually contains another award, which is the Communities and Cultures Award. Now, the good thing about this is if you have an onboarding program where your staff need to undertake something like communities, cultures, and then they need to load up certifications and they need to do a number of specific outcome-based things, then you can set that up as cascading awards, and it allows you to monitor and check the overarching achievement. We have a number of customers using this for CPD, certification of learning, so it's actually proven to be a very, very useful piece of functionality. In addition to that, now you can actually say, you've always had the ability to have external learning records associated with awards. What we've now provided is the ability to moderate those external learning records. So what that means is that a staff member can't just say, I've got an RSA and put it up there and it's automatically approved. You can say, no, moderate externally submitted records, which means then your managers or the assessors for that award will actually then be able to say, oh, I've cited it, yes, that can be recognised. So this provides an extra level of governance and oversight for the organisation when it comes to the recognition of external learning. Sorry, just saying the exit that. So as I said, there's those basic ones that we've been talking about in terms of the cascading of awards. We're also looking at some more advanced functionality coming out soon. And you'll notice here that we're also using this wrap up, wrap down award reporting as well, which has proven to be, so as you can see in here with the awards reporting on this one, We've got April. April has a number of activities in here. This is the Child Award, which I can then see the activities in below that. Now, I can view the details on that. And this one here is an externally submitted learning record. And it comes through as pending status. So my ability then is to view the details on that. So I can see that it was face-to-face, yes, yes, yes. And I can save it. The other option that I have is to edit it and say, have I accepted it? Yes, I have, and update it. So when that's updated, and I refresh this, no, don't do this. That now comes through as completed. So the new reporting and these structures in here for awards actually provide you with a significant capability to drive the actions from in there. We really like this new cascading reporting structure that we have here. Again, we found it's proven very easy for people to see summary and detail levels. So we can also see the credits here that attribute from these awards, which is another improvement to this awards area. The next piece, I'm not actually going to demonstrate this, but what we have actually implemented, and we received a significant amount of feedback from customers that having a single administration role didn't provide the level of security that some of you require. So what we've done is we've introduced a secondary administration role. At the moment, that's called the content administrator, but we are working through whether that's meaningful for the purposes of the businesses. And what that does is it actually means that anyone that's a content administrator, certain things in this area they can't see. So they can't see portal settings, they can't see integrations. They can see administer for the purposes of reporting, but these more advanced functions around managing your subscription and managing users and permissions and all those types of things aren't available to that content administrator role. One of the important things to note is that over the next quarter, we will be doing some research to better understand the business roles in your organisation and the types of functionality that they need to be able to access. So if you're interested in being involved in that research, please follow up from the blog post and actually just let us know that you're interested by completing the form I mentioned before. One of the next features in production that I wanted to really walk you through was some of our improvements around reporting. So at the moment, I'll just go to admin at the moment. What we've done is we've improved some of the ability to see only active users in user reporting, which is actually quite by default now. You will only see active users. And you do have the ability, so you'll actually see that the filter is on there. So we do have the ability now to filter by active versus inactive users, which is something that we didn't previously have. In addition to that, there is we now have the ability to use a current user. So when you're filtering now, you can actually add user. So name is current user equals current user. I will double check and we will issue some documentation on this one. And what that means is when you can create a dynamic filter that will always just show for who the user is. So this is really useful if you're doing enrollment searching. You only want to see those enrollments that relate to you or courses that relate to you. So you can create and save filters that only by default will show you immediately. That was a big piece of feedback, especially with the dynamic filtering that we received from our customers. So what I'm just going to flick back to my presentation for the moment. And that's basically all of those features are now currently in production and are able to be used. And if you have feedback on them, please feel free to send that to us. In the blog post, there will be an email address where product feedback about improvements to features should be sent, and that's to product@go1.com. So rather than sending improvements or feature requests through to support, we've now created a separate email address where you can email us with your suggestions or ideas. Over the next few months, we will also be rolling out an ideas portal where you'll be able to submit ideas directly and vote on ideas that are in the portal. So some of the features that are currently available for early access, we have a content provider dashboard. We have My Team tab, which now improves the ability to track staff progress and look at what's happening within your team. We've got an improved ability in reporting to summarise and analyse your data through the use of pivot tables and matrices. And for those of you who might use the Wisenet student management system, we now have an integration to that, which it can actually allow you to map behaviours of enrolment behaviours in GO1 to Wisenet enrolment behaviours. So that's especially useful if you've got bundles, or like it's got a one-for-one mapping between a program or a piece of learning. So what I might just do now is I'll shut this down again and we'll skip across into those features. So the My Team dashboard is driven very much by feedback from our customer base. And effectively, the challenge that we had is if I'm managing a number of different staff, what I can't see is how they're performing. So what we've introduced is the ability for me, if I'm an assessor, to see a summary of what's happening with these students, and I can also see my own progress. So what I know is that there's a sum of 13 for where I'm an assessor. I've got 13 enrolments, 9 are overdue, 3 have been marked. In terms of my own learning, I have 4 with 2 overdue. In terms of my staff member, they have 6 in progress with 3 overdue. So again, this allows you to more actively follow up with your staff when they're not delivering or when they're not achieving their learning objectives. So that's our My Team dashboard. This will be available for early access probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We've still got some work, so this is still in our testing environment at the moment. And obviously here you can still see the summary, users and awards reports in the same way they were before. The other feature that is available in the AP at the moment is our content dashboard. So if you're a content creator, one of the things that this dashboard, so like you're someone who's created learning material, some of this is actually where that learning material is for sale. So you can see revenues from that learning material. You can see the number of users, and that's a month on month. You can actually see the number of enrolments and the number of new courses. You can see your enrolments over that period, and you can also see activities. Now, this is a very early stage, and we are very, very keen to get feedback on this. It's only available via the admin area, so it's only available in admin, and we're actually looking to build this functionality out as an area that sits in the same way up here. So you'd have a My Courses and then you'd have a dashboard. We would, especially for training organisations as well as anyone who's creating internal content, we'd be very interested if you'd like to be an early access member on this. We see this as a really significant movement forward in being able to provide people with detailed analytics. The other piece of functionality currently available in early access is our pivot tables. So these are available in any reporting area. And I've kind of done a little sample one up at the moment. As you can see here, this is on my enrolments. I'm now able to say group by status and username and by the parent course and show me the number of courses or the number of enrolments that are in each of these courses. All of the fields that are available in reporting are able to be used in this way, and it's particularly useful if you want to do some more advanced analytics. One of the other things that's also available is the ability now to share an Excel link. So you can create a report and share that Excel so that you can use it as a data feed into an Excel spreadsheet, which I don't have that one on here, but that's also available in early access at the moment and is a very useful link. The final piece of the new features coming, and unfortunately I don't have this for demonstration purposes, is the Wisenet integration. As I said, this is the first of a number of integrations to HRIS student management systems that we have planned over the next 6 months. It's a very rich integration which allows you to create mapping rules that manage how learning activities are synchronised against one or more unit offerings in Wisenet. We currently have one early access program customer, but we would love to hear from you currently using Wisenet or are investigating using Wisenet. Again, if you're using other student management or HRIS systems, please let us know because we are looking at putting together the roadmap for that moving forward. What I might just do is skip back across to my presentation. So what's coming soon? Things we're currently working on. As I mentioned earlier, there are some improvements to reminders and notifications coming. There's some improvements to search and tag filtering and explore. We are going to be working through a significant block of improvements around the content add and creation process, including building out that My Content dashboard. And we're also looking at improvements around the ability to use external certificates. If you are interested in any of these, please follow up through the blog and drop us a line via the online forum. And that's the end of my presentation for today. So I might hand back to Scott now and we'll do questions. Hello. Oh, hi. Sorry. I have a question here that says, will we be able to see the user's last access for learning items, for each learning item? We are working on working through that, as Natasha has said. That's a great suggestion for improvement, and we'll certainly take that on board and look to beat that out a little bit further. If you're happy for us to follow up with you on that, that would be fantastic. Yeah, I've got a couple of other questions that have come through private mode. Scott, okay, I've just got a question about obviously the process for new features or improvements. As I mentioned earlier, we'd prefer if you didn't contact support with suggestions for new features or improvements, and we will be making a publicly available ideas portal. In the interim, please just submit them to product@go1.com. There's another here about, okay, I won't go into the feature, but just that a feature was requested a while ago, and how will I know when it's done? It's probably valid, like, as you can imagine, on a platform with over 1 million users, we receive hundreds of feature requests for changes or new features a month. We can't do all of them, but what we do need to do is ensure that when we make those changes, we actually consider the impact to the whole user base. What we are committed to doing, and one of the reasons why we're now moving forward with an ideas portal, and one of the reasons why we're to improve our visibility of our roadmap through things like today, and also by making that more publicly available, will be to improve the communication with back to you. So one of the reasons why we're using the product at Go1 is the product team will actually respond to you about whether a suggestion or improvement is in line with something that we've already got planned, or whether it's something that is more longer term, and we'll be monitoring and responding to that on a frequent basis. So I will follow up directly on the question that I received about, but I guess probably we're looking to make the overarching roadmap much more available and be be able to see that and engage in that in a more positive way. I've got a question that says, I don't want to use feature. Can I choose not to have it deployed on my portal? Yeah, I guess it's one of the interesting questions that comes up when we talk about a cloud-based platform or a SaaS-based platform. Whilst in the future, we will be looking to build out some of our new features with the option to enable higher configuration. GO1 is a SaaS platform, so disabling features and capabilities on a per portal basis is quite difficult and does create an additional risk or overhead. It's not really a service we offer, but we are conscious, obviously, as I mentioned, of with some new features allowing them to be turned on or turned off. I'm not seeing any other questions there, so I might just give it a couple of minutes to see if anyone else wants to jump in with a question.
Thanks very much for hosting today, Liz. I think this has been a really good session with some valuable information for everyone involved. One thing that I think we should...
Well, if that's all, I might actually hand the reins back to Scott. Scott?
Thank you very much, Liz. I think one thing that is important that we haven't touched on is that there is a blog post coming out around everything that we've done today.
I'm sorry, we appear to have lost Scott. I guess probably in lieu of that, thank you very much for your time, everyone. It was lovely to be able to present to you today. And one of the things that we are looking to do is probably monthly, moving forward, have a product demonstration webinar to demonstrate some of the new features that we're working on and as they become available for EAP. But one of the other things that we're looking to do then is also to maybe recap on some of the other features that have been delivered historically and bring them up to date so that you're getting the most out of your platform. Thank you very much for your time, and on that basis, I might sign off.